Welcome to the Cocoa Recovery Podcast.
The Cocoa Recovery Podcast presents the conversations of an informal group of friends gathered over coffee to discuss their current experience in recovery. The simple purpose of this podcast is to be helpful by sharing the realities of people living in recovery. The hosts and guests may or may not be practicing members of 12-step programs. The Cocoa Recovery Podcast is not affiliated with any organization, institution, or facility, neither endorses nor opposes any causes or approaches to recovery and rehabilitation. Whatever is expressed in the podcast represents our individual experiences and opinions as of today. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Pirate Mike.
And I'm Carbs, and Barbie is with us in spirit.
Yes, she
Can't be here tonight, but we don't want to disappoint our fans. So yeah, she has our blessing to do this episode tonight. It's just me and Pirate Mike. So welcome, guys.
We run a tight ship and the show must go on. So we're here for you.
We're here for you. We're here for you guys.
So this is what, episode number 9?
9?
Yeah, 9. And
Episode
I feel like
9.
I'm going to do some practice some rigorous honesty because I read the preamble and it says that we're an informal group of friends gathered over coffee. But I've been straight up drinking green tea for the last 4 episodes.
Are you kidding? Mine has water in it.
we might have to change that a little bit if we're going to be telling the truth.
I'm sorry. What? Coffee? We record at night.
Yeah. Are you crazy? I'm not in my 20s anymore.
See, even that, it's like now we have time limits. I mean, we have to limit ourselves to what we take during the day. We know how our mind works.
We know how our mind works and our bodies don't cooperate.
If I get coffee now, I'm not gonna sleep. There you go. So wait, our topic for tonight is social. Yeah, we're deviating again, guys. Sorry, but we're deviating again. But social stigma and how we deal with it, basically.
Right.
Because I mean I'm not new to this program because my brothers and a couple of several friends, I know them to be in recovery, and something I never thought it was something that people are so wary about. When somebody says that, oh, I'm in recovery, I don't drink. Oh, I'm an alcoholic, that's why I don't drink. I guess it's because I was never put in that situation where I was with my brother and he was asked oh, why don't you drink?
Oh, really? Never.
I've never. I guess maybe because when they were in recovery, they hung out with recovery friends. So there was never
Got it.
An instance where somebody would be like, oh, you don't drink? And stuff like that. But I have, because I still, God, I've been called a lot of names.
Before sobriety, or you're saying during?
In sobriety, I've been called Baduy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baduy, Killjoy, and just and the Baduy part, I get it, but then it was with my friends naman who support my sobriety. They're like Baduy, again. But then they stopped now because they got used to it, because I I continued seeing them, and they got used to it.
Yeah.
So that's cool, right? And they helped me protect it, But other people, oh my God. Actually, not just other people, but other people who I've known for a long time, and then they find out I'm in recovery, and then how they try to keep a straight face and be like, oh, or show concern, or
right,
show oh, okay, they go like that, but then there's a little hint of disgust that I can't understand.
They're judging you.
It's like judging me. It's like like you could see it in their face, like, oh my God, you went that far. Sometimes, yes, it's a very awkward situation. And I do feel like it's like I don't mean to talk about it, but I don't talk about it. It's just that it just comes up because like they're all planning like, oh, come on, let's go buy some drinks and then hang out here, and I'd be like, and then they kind of look at me and they're like, oh, you don't drink, you
Oh, and
know.
it's like a failing on your part because like
Yeah,
that part. Okay. Yeah.
they can't hide it. They can't
Yeah.
hide it.
Yeah.
They try, but they can't hide it. It's like, no, she's a drug addict. She's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just gonna say no, even though if they've known me for like years on end. For some reason, that's always gonna be like my label now. I could see it.
Mm.
You know.
Did it hurt? I mean, I
I
don't
mean,
know, then or
I
now, did it hurt your
well,
feelings?
when I first experienced it, I was just like, God, these people are assholes. That was early in recovery, right? And I was like, I didn't know that I had to consider the fact that they didn't understand. But it's not their fault, right? But it's not my responsibility either. Like what they think of me is none of my business, as they say.
As they say. No, that's true. You know, you brought up something when you said that, like a memory for me. When we first started talking about doing this, one of the goals that we had or that we talked about was to help combat the social stigma. Because like you said, I mean, there are a lot of people who are not
Hmm.
aware. And
Yeah,
here in the Philippines, there are still a lot of ideas, misconceptions that people have about what it means to be a person in recovery. And so I remember us talking about how, this would be a way to bring that conversation a little bit more to the forefront in whatever, little capacity we can, so that it might dispel some of the myths and misconceptions and misunderstandings.
that's true. It's just, yeah, but I don't think we can help the fact that it is kind of like still taboo that we went this far.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not gonna like not admit that, but I don't know. I just kind of hope that there was a little bit more of like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know. I just kind of felt like, Brian, come on, cut me some slack, bitch. Like, like I'm here trying to recover. Jesus. No, but you know what I hate the most is when they try to relate to you.
Oh,
Oh, oh my God. I
like
wanted to
what?
punch the guy. Like, oh my God, so you're sober now? I was sober for like 5 weeks, but I went back to drinking just last night because my friend died. I was like, yes, it's you mourn and it's cause for celebration to celebrate that person's life, but it's not an excuse for me to drink. Buddy, we're not the same. Oh. I'm grateful that you're trying to relate to me, but let's keep it short and sweet.
Yeah. Wait, where was
Right.
this though? But where was this? Did you meet this person?
I was in a bar and a restaurant. Oh my God. Like I was like, "Ugh." Really? Like I was sober for like 5 weeks. Longest. And
So
I
he was
was like,
like, he was on mission basically.
he was on a mission. He told me like, yeah, I wanted to get sober for a long time, but then my friend died. And I was like, we're not, we're not, we're not the same. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But then I also get those people who are too curious about it.
Mm.
Oh, did you ever get that? Why? What happens by if you drink? That's like, no, you don't want to know. I go, you don't want to know. It's okay. I'm fine. Okay. I can talk to you even if I'm not drinking. I can have fun even if I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
I'm still the same person. Don't worry. And then they stop. But then there are other people who are just like, why? What happens when you drink? Mhm. Like, why? What was that? What happened the last time you drank? And I'm like, do you really want to know?
That's how I feel too. It's like, I don't think you know what you're asking for.
Right? Do we have time? Do
That's
you have time to listen?
it's good that you're upfront though. I mean, because I remember in early sobriety, there were a lot of conversations that I had with different people about what to do in a social setting because
Oh,
I wasn't sure. Like I was so afraid, about how that would reflect on me. How do I handle myself? Like, what do I say, right? And so there were all these helpful suggestions. Somebody pretty early on said like you can order a drink that's non-alcoholic but sounds like a cocktail, so most people won't know. Like Arnold Palmer was my favorite, and actually I thought, come on, everybody knows that it's like iced tea and lemonade, but actually a lot of people did it. So a lot of times, even in business functions, when people would be ordering whatever, and they'd get to me and I'd ask for an Arnold Palmer. Like nobody ever, I was so afraid that somebody would ask,
hmm.
but nobody ever did. Or maybe like 1 out of 10 times somebody would say like, "Oh, you're not going to get something with alcohol." But for the most part, people left me alone. Or, if that didn't work, it was like, um, turn it into a joke. Say, when I take a drink, I'm allergic. And if they still
Mm.
ask you, what does that mean? You have an allergy. It's like, well, I break out in handcuffs. Ha ha ha. And actually, I tried that once, and that made it really awkward because I did it at a work function. So never again. No one wants to joke about getting arrested, like in a professional setting. But things like that, like all these, and there were some times when I just said, oh, personal problems or health reasons, and
Yeah.
every now and
Yeah.
then you'd have like the curious camis, like you said, who are like, well, what happened? And then yeah.
Mm.
And
Mm.
then when I was newer in sobriety, then that would turn into like an overshare.
Yeah. They're like taking a complete stranger, like, well, this happened, and
Yeah.
No, but I had that yeah, I had this one guy though that I didn't tell him. He's like, oh, why aren't you drinking? I go, because I'm still drinking my coffee. And
Ah.
then he's like, but you're gonna drink after. I go, no, I don't want to. And then he goes like, why aren't you drinking? Why? What happened? And then like my two friends who were with me, they were like, dude, just leave her alone. Just leave her alone, man. She's happy not drinking. She wouldn't stop. Like, no, I'm just trying to get to know her. I just want to know. Like, what happened? Why aren't you drinking? And I go, do you have an allergy? I go, "No, sort of. Yeah, okay, let's go with that. Really, what happens to you when you drink? Does your ears get red? I was like,
You get rid.
oh my god. And then like my two friends, they were just like, they had enough, and then they go like, dude, she's in recovery. Leave her alone. Oh, didn't stop there. Really, why? And I'm just like, get him away from me. Just get him away. Like, I think he's too drunk to realize that he's not making sense anymore. And I was just like, forget it. And then like I remember that guy, I saw him again, and there was this odd look in his face.
Hmm.
Because he knew he did something wrong. Like, oh, I'm so sorry that I asked you so many questions that night. And then my friend was like, yeah, we told him that he was out of line. And I was like, oh, I have great friends. I have great friends for helping me keep that. I'm blessed that way. And I mean, it's good. It's also good to let other people know that you are in recovery, especially those that would understand how to protect it with you.
Hmm.
And that's one of the thing that makes me still want to be social,
Yeah.
because I feel safe, you know, and there's no more pressure in that sense to explain myself and stuff like that. So, but there are still instances that other people who still know that I'm recovery, they'd be like, look at this, guys, it's so good. I know it's a joke, but then like when you're doing it like 20 times in the night because
Yeah.
you're drunk, it's
Yeah.
like you're crazy, right?
Yeah.
You're
It
crazy.
kind of depends on the setting too, no? Like the rules of engagement. I mean, I was gonna say like if it's some guy that's trying to hit on you at a bar or like a nighttime setting, then I mean, I go back to them being on mission. Like whatever the reason it is that you're not drinking, they're trying to find any angle to like
Any.
get some time with you. So,
Okay.
if it was
Any.
somebody that you met in the daytime at some like neutral function, then I don't think, I hope they wouldn't be so kulit, right? They might not be as persistent.
Sure. Yeah.
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 But like at a party, or I mean, because the last time that I can remember that happening was at a friend's wedding. And then afterwards, a bunch of us went out to somebody's house and they were all drinking and doing other things. And I was still kind of new in sobriety, but these were old friends, and the wife of one of my friends was like, yeah, it was the 20 questions. Why don't you drink? Like, I don't understand. Like, I've seen the pictures, what's going on? Why don't you drink anymore? And I think I lost, well, I got impatient. So I just said, well, because I'm a recovering alcoholic, and if I drink again, I'm going to die. Someone's going to die. Like,
Yeah.
this house is going to be set on fire or something. Like, it's not going to end well.
Uh-huh.
Which is not, it's an exaggeration, but like I went dramatic because I just wanted to shut her the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
But if we were having lunch, I don't think she would be as pestering about it.
True.
Diba?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sometimes you just have to say it just to make people shut up. No, it's true though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just I don't know if that's the way to do it. Because like I struggle with how people still want this to be anonymous and everything like that. Like I went to a
Oh,
meeting,
like
right?
what?
I went to a face-to-face meeting recently. And um so we weren't, of course, we're all there sitting down and stuff like that. And then, somebody took a picture and then everyone was just like, delete it, delete it, delete it. And he was like, I'm just sending it to my wife to prove that I'm in an AA meeting. Oh, but delete it, delete it. I was like, holy shit. This, it's not that I'm hiding my alcoholism and that I'm a
Mm.
recovering alcoholic, but like, really? I mean, is it bad that I tell people to fuck off because I'm in recovery? And like, is it bad that my anonymity is out there? I don't think so, because for some reason I feel like I'm gaining the respect that is correct,
Yeah.
the correct respect with regards to my sobriety, and it lessens the stigma in my point of view.
Mm. And it's funny with the meeting, like even then, I can't speak for the people who jumped all over the guy who took a picture, right? But when it comes to that anonymity part,
Mm-hmm.
I know that I had like over time different reasons for wanting to protect the anonymity. I mean, today, I think that I'm thankful that, we belong to a group that celebrates life and recovery,
Yeah.
to the point
Yeah.
where like, we're not like proclaiming it and breaking other people's anonymity necessarily, but we're also not hiding it as something to be ashamed of, and
There you go.
in early sobriety, I did think that there was something to like, okay, I shouldn't, we're anonymous because, I don't want anyone to know what I did. Nobody here wants anyone to know what they did, that kind of thing. Like we're hiding it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then later on, it became more about like the rules. You just don't do it because anonymity is in the name. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then honestly, like as I got comfortable and I felt more accepted, there were also times when I was kind of strict on anonymity because I felt like it was my thing. Like this is my private thing,
Yeah.
separate from the rest of like real life, which is also not really healthy, because it just becomes another fact of my life that I'm hiding and keeping secret from like other people.
We're just as sick as our secrets.
Yeah. Oh,
We're
it's
as sick
true.
as our secrets. No, it's true though. It's not. Yeah, you're right. We're not like shouting it from the rooftops.
Mm.
No, it's just like I think in a situation where it calls for it.
Mm.
Like I would say, I'm in recovery, and yeah,
Yeah.
because like it gets old. I'm allergic, or no, I saw you drink before. How come you're not drinking now? It's like, dude, it's like Manila is too small for that. You know,
Really is.
one way, it really is, and like I see people all the time, and it's just like I cringe because like, oh God, the last time I was with this person, I was hella drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh God, the last time I saw him, well, you know,
Mm.
like it's like that. So yeah, like what if the situation does call for it? Like my anonymity is, yeah, sure. I'm very, yeah, when anonymous, when I have to be. But when the situation really calls for it, I cannot.
Yeah.
It's like I really have to say it there, because it's the only way that they will understand. Like, especially if I've only seen them when I'm drunk. Like, stop pestering me. I've stopped drinking, and that's it. I'm in recovery. I haven't. I'm going on 23 months. I'm going on how many,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, and it's something that I think is, it's about time that people know, na just to stop expecting me to drink, because
Yeah.
I won't. 'Di ba? I could, but I won't. 'Di ba? And I appreciate the fact that some people would ask me like, okay, I'm here. There's another person who asked me like, I just want to understand like, what happened, like for example, like you can't even take a sip. Why does it trigger you to to drink more? Is it the taste? And then I had to explain, like my favorite explanation is like, when you drink your first drink, you kind of like wince. Your face goes like that, like, right? Like some people with the hard drinks, like they kind of go, there we go. Mine is like, I don't wince. It's like I take like, wow, here we go.
Mm.
Yup. It's like that. And then when I do that analogy with them, and they're like, oh, I get it. And
Oh
then they're
yeah.
like, yeah, yeah. They get it. They're like, oh, okay. So like I go like, even one drop would make me, it's not gonna be good. So I tell them that.
Yeah.
For some reason that analogy works. Who would have thought? Like,
That's
it's
pretty
like
cool.
me it's like me trying to explain to them that you're not an alcoholic. Don't worry about yourself, okay? Because
Yeah.
I know you can stop. For me, it's like I'm just gonna start, and it's not gonna stop, you know? And they're like, oh, okay. And then it goes to like, oh, I'm so glad you stopped. Good for you. You get that, right? Oh, good for you. Oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm just like, yeah. So yeah. But then I also get the question, how can you stand it that
Being sober.
no, being sober and you're in a bar, or you're surrounded by alcohol.
Okay. I get that.
I get that, because like I go like, you know what? My whole life I was I grew up with this stuff. It
Mm.
was all around me, and it never bothered me in that sense. But once it's in my mouth, that's when it's going to be a problem.
Mm.
I don't mind seeing it. I don't mind seeing people drink it. I don't mind being around it, because I've been around it all my life. It's something that's normal. And I remember I was early in recovery, and my brother, because in his office there's like a full fridge.
Mm.
It's like there's a coffee cart, and under it it's like wine, and then the fridge, like a properly sized fridge, it's full of beer, full. Like you got Heineken, you got Corona, you got Hogarden, you got
Or not
all
even
this.
like a mini fridge, but like a regular size fridge.
It's
And
a proper regular sized fridge.
nice.
Right, because like they entertain, and there's always like happy hour there. That's how my family is, and that's what the
Mm.
workplace is about. And I just remember one time, like this is how I think he knew, because he was in recovery too. I think he knew that you're not gonna be able to escape alcohol from the world. It's always gonna be there. So one time I was working and I go like, oh, I have to go. No, you stay here, sit down until midnight. I was there and the debauchery was on, and he was right beside me, exposing me to what I know to what he knew was going to happen in the world
Hmm.
outside.
How was it
But
for
it
you?
was in a safe. It was in a safe environment.
Yeah.
Of course, I felt a little. Of course, I felt like holy mother, I want some, because like everybody's having fun. There were sounds, but may well, sige, sige, itong song naman, ganyan, ganyan. Like, there was pulutan, and then there was like, everybody was having fun. But he was sitting down beside me, and he was making sure I wasn't drinking. But he was exposing me to the drinking that's happening in the world.
Hmm.
And I appreciated it, because that was the first time, in early recovery talaga. That was the first time that I was exposed to a proper drinking session, and I wasn't part of it. And after that,
Mm.
parang I just felt more like I started to build my confidence. That's where it started. I just remember that. I was just like,
Yeah.
that's where it started. Like, no, I don't have to be afraid, right? I just don't have to pick up,
Yeah.
right? It was amazing. It was terrifying. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
That's funny. I think I had a almost the exact opposite experience in early sobriety. It was
Why?
with somebody safe also. It was my boss who I didn't know. I mean, I told him where I was at and being newly sober, but I didn't know that he had also been sober for a long time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but he was someone who I felt somewhat safe with, probably not as safe as you feel like with your brother. So we were in New York for business when we were taking out a client, and this guy was coming from the Midwest, and all he wanted to do when he got to the city was party, right? So we had dinner and did the formalities, and after his team left, the first thing that he wanted to do was to go to some high-end strip club. So,
Mm.
um, and I don't like those places. I'm kind of like awkward that way. So, but I went and I told my boss I was worried about it, and
Uh-huh.
he's like, "We're gonna do this thing. It's part of the job. If you can compartmentalize, then that'll help you. But also, you don't have to stay. Um, once you start feeling uncomfortable, just let me know." And
Wow.
so I hung out with him for a bit. Like I knew it was just getting worse in my head, and so I felt safe enough to tell my boss, like I don't think I can do this for much longer. And he said, okay, I'll cover for you.
Mm.
You just leave, like be polite, and then you're okay, right? You can walk back to the hotel. And I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then they ended up staying at the place for like a couple more hours. I learned later that the guy, he wanted to get some cocaine. So like my boss got him cocaine, and he's still, I mean, the guy, like my boss was clean and sober for a while. But he's one of those guys too. He told me later on when I knew he was clean and sober. Now he's like, I can separate. Like this is what I do for the job, and
Mm.
I don't have the obsession over drugs and alcohol anymore. So I can separate the two. And I'm not saying that that's right, but whatever, he didn't relapse or anything when he was doing it, and it's
Yes.
working for him. So, had he forced me to stay there, I don't know. I want to say that I might have picked up a drink just because I didn't want to feel so awkward and left out.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
um, it just lined up like that was God looking out for me. So I was able to. It was on me. I had to speak up, and then when I did, I got to take a nice brisk walk back to the hotel, get some fresh air. But it was so like, yeah, it was so uncomfortable for a long time for me being in a social setting and feeling like I was the only one that wasn't drinking.
Yeah, it is. It is. No, but yeah, because like I'm kind of grateful because like the first encounters I had with proper drinking, let's call it that. Proper drinking was with family.
Mm.
So it was there that I sort of built up that, let's say, tolerance
Yeah.
of being in a social setting that everybody around me was drinking and I wasn't.
Yeah.
And, it was proper because they were making fun of me. Ha ha, can't drink. But it was like I would get beaten up if I'd grab the drink. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because these are my brothers,
They were looking out
right?
for you. Yeah.
They were looking out for me, and I really appreciated that. I do get your point when I feel trapped, because I did have an experience like fairly recently. Like I knew I was gonna go to. I went to this party. It was during the day, and then sat down with old friends and everything like that. But the alcohol started to come out,
Mm.
and I was like, okay, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But then they knew that I was in recovery too, and I thought I was gonna feel safe because from the time that I arrived and from the time that before the alcohol was being served, I was okay. Like we were talking, and it's just like having catch ups and stuff like that. But then the kava came out. Fuck! Somebody slapped that person and goes like, "Hoy, hindi siya pwede. She doesn't drink anymore." And then that's when it felt awkward. That's when it felt
Oh.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. Why? What? It was different. You
It was
felt
because like,
like you didn't feel like it was a supportive comment. It was more of like a
no,
ostracizing comment.
it felt like parang it felt like she's no. It just felt it just that's I get your point. It felt uncomfortable already, and
Mm.
so like it was awkward after that
Yeah.
because because they knew me as the person who drank. And then like now that I stopped, and I get it, like whatever. I guess they slipped and offered.
Yeah.
Diba? You get that? Sometimes someone they will forget it. Like what I said, I've said this in meetings. Like other people don't care about that. Like my recovery does not mean so much to other people. It means nothing to other people talaga. Diba? Sometimes it doesn't matter to them. And when I'm caught in that situation where like, they slip and they offer me and stuff like that, and then somebody corrects them, it puts that whole table in an awkward situation
Mm.
because somebody had to be told off. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah.
God, because of me, like
Yeah.
parang, ugh.
Yeah.
So
It made
that was my
it's different from like your group of friends who would tease you, but then they're all kind of in on the joke. But in this case, like
yeah,
somebody got somebody got called out and you were the reason, and now everything's awkward.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Diba? Now that was hard, and so I knew that was my cue to leave
Mm.
because I felt really uncomfortable and I felt trapped. Because what are you gonna say after that? Dude, I nervously laughed. Ha! Like
Yeah.
I don't nervously laugh. God, I have a hearty laugh. Right? And like I caught myself doing a nervous laugh and I was like, God, this is awkward. I have to go. And then that's when I knew I had I'm so glad I brought the driver, you
Mm.
know, stuff like that. Like I knew I couldn't, for some reason, maybe my higher power was looking out for me,
Yeah.
saying like if you need to go, you can go right away. That's what I learned here. Like like it's not rude. Like not unless like you get up and you storm out.
Right.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
gonna have a problem with that.
It's how you do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And then, like you like throw your chair and be like, I can't take this anymore, and like storm out.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have a problem there, right? There's a way to do things gracefully,
Mm.
and it's not rude. So yeah, I think maybe yeah, the newcomers will. There's a I had that feeling like, what am I supposed to say? What am I? But then like it was always good that I was always told that um exit plan.
Oh,
That the exit plan, like when you go to a place, know where your exits are, know where the bathroom is, know where you can step out and take a breather
yeah.
and stuff like that. And I was like, I was thankful for that because that was one of the what that was one of the first things I learned here. I don't know how, maybe I don't know how that was one of the first things I learned.
The exit plan?
Yeah, it was one of the first things I learned. And to this day I still I always have, like, it's not becoming second nature, but then like when I go to a place I just kind of look around and be like, yeah, okay. Okay, but I have a question for you. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so I've found myself in this situation, and I somehow I think it's rude if I stand up and say like I need to go. Okay, like for example, it's just you and one friend, and then that friend's like, "Oh, can you stay with me for a drink?" Like, I don't drink. Like, no, 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 I'm drinking. You're not. And then it goes on to two drinks, and
Mm.
then three drinks, four drinks, but just the two of you. And then you're just like, how do I get out of this conversation? When they're starting to pour their hearts out to you already. Oh my god. I you know what? That's the one thing I don't know how to exit gracefully to this day. That's why I avoid like one-on-ones
Oh,
if I
yeah.
know the person's gonna drink. No, because I know someone who's like that. And I've been trapped in that situation with the same person like at least three times.
I've been trapped a few times in that situation. What I do today is I set the expectation up front, like X number of drinks, and then I gotta go. Or a certain time, knowing that I'll probably, like if I say like I'm gonna leave at 9, knowing that I'm probably gonna end up leaving at like 9:15 or whatever because long goodbyes. But um, at least there's a line in the sand somewhere, and that helps. It makes me feel less rude because I like, bitch, I already told you.
Bitch, I told you stop crying. Stop crying. I have to go.
Okay, okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's like that. Like it's
Yeah.
oh god. Like I don't know. Like I maybe because like I have some soft spots for people who open up when they're drinking
Yeah.
because there are people like that. It's like they're more open when they're drinking, and then like their heart and soul is on the table, and you're just like there, and then they're just asking you like, "What am I?" And then you're just like, "Holy mother, how am I gonna get out of this?"
Yeah.
That's kind of hard. But
Yeah,
then
I've
like,
been there. Yeah.
if I like, I kind of sometimes I do set like, okay, I can only stay for lunch. I can only say, oh, can you stay for like a drink? Can you stay for like a, yeah? And then it's lunch ends at 4 p.m. So I'm just like,
It's a long lunch.
and they're drinking, and it's like me, and I'm already sober, and I'm just like, this person, and in my head, it's like this person has a problem with alcohol. She's an alcoholic. She's an alcoholic, and again, it starts to get my mind
That's
goes
not
like
helpful. You're like you're going into a spin.
just like that's what I'm doing. Like I'm thinking, I'm looking at the person, and I'm just like, this person's an alcoholic. She can't handle it. And I'm just like, no, no, no. She just has a lot on her mind. And then you know how I'm
Yeah.
overthinking the whole situation, and therefore I'm just stuck there. I have to listen, bear with it, and when she's done, and that's when I can leave. And I don't know, like maybe you're right. Like maybe in that sort of situation, you kind of have to put the at the beginning and say like,
Hmm.
I'm really staying for lunch. And that's it.
Because I do feel like when it almost happens now and then I put a stop to it, it's there are some people who like their expectation if they don't say it is that you're going to be their shoulder to cry on or their buddy, right? And so
Yeah.
and they'll just kind of naturally assume that it's okay with you. So the sooner that you can politely indicate that it won't be that way, then the better off you might be. Like that's not gonna happen.
Totally like drop it. Like, no, dude, not today. Sorry. You want me to call somebody else? It's also the perception of some people, like for example, like I just stopped drinking, but everything is the same.
Ah, that's kind of nice though,
It's
in
kind of
theory,
nice, but then
right?
like if you're gonna sit down there and then like drink to oblivion
Yeah.
and then expect me to like, hello.
I mean, it's not very considerate, but that's not really like that's more something they have to work on. It sounds like.
That's what they have to work on. Exactly. And like you're right. And then you're caught up and you're caught in that situation and you're like, is it rude? Is it, and then like people say like, what's important is your sobriety. And but dude, I have empathy. Come on. For this person who's having struggling, right?
Yeah,
Why do I hate it when people say like, your sobriety comes first, okay? You can leave anytime you want.
but it
I
does.
go, it does come first, but then like, there's sometimes I want to be considerate too of the person pouring their heart out to me while they're drinking.
It's imbalanced, Diva.
Yeah,
You
you're right.
you do have like the heart and the empathy for this person, but then I think it's fair like to recognize that, and this doesn't make them bad people, but they're also not being considerate of you, so you're at a loss.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I guess. No, but it's right. It's right that I get to set boundaries at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, which is I mean, I feel like that would launch us off into a altogether different conversation, right? Because like you are an excellent friend in that way, to
Yes.
your detriment.
Oh, yeah. I get it. It's like I thought I would be like sometimes I go like, okay, I'm gonna go out with this person only during the day. Alcohol does not escape in the day.
Oh.
And then it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to dinner. Oh, we're gonna be with another person, but that person's pregnant, so she gets to get home early. I'm just like, just
You're like, wait, why am I stuck again?
yeah. I think, and then sometimes I think like, okay, my higher power is just playing jokes on me. That at this point, I.
You are
That's
kind
true.
of, I mean, fair. Like when we started trading stories about the social stigma, I'm like, now that you're saying that, I'm like, well, you are kind of like making the choice to dive into the war zone every time you encounter these people.
No, it's true. It's true. I mean, like people who know that I'm in recovery or but are not in recovery, and they're like, you're really brave and you're really like strong for going out, and I go like, yeah, because I know what to do,
Mm.
right? I know what to do, dude. Like if you piss me off, I'm gonna go home. Easy. Oh, and they're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, because I know what to do. It doesn't mean that just because I go out, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna torture myself, right? If I stay for an hour, that's fine. I stay for 2 hours, good, whatever, right? But it doesn't
Mm.
mean that in that hour I'm torturing myself. It just means that I can stay that long,
Yeah,
and then I can,
that's a
right?
blessing to be in.
Yeah.
I mean, again, for like those who are, because you and I am sure both know people who like have been in this game for a while and they're still at the point where it's like, well, I cannot there can never be any alcohol in my house,
Mm.
because I cannot be tempted. And I respect that boundary that they're trying to set for themselves. The caveat that I have is, you know, if we ever have a conversation about program, the idea is that something happens so that we find ourselves in a position of neutrality, right? So like, I'm not trying to fight off alcohol, but I'm also not trying to like hide away from it all the time.
Yeah.
And like, and that's the ideal, and it can happen. Like kind of what you said, you know, it's like there's a confidence without being arrogant about it.
Yes.
It just isn't a thing.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. I'm not boasting that I can be in a bar and not be bothered. Okay. It just means that I just know what to do. And if I catch myself, like, and I make people who I'm with, and of course, I don't go out alone. God, diba? What am I, a loser? No, I go out with people who I know, like, protect me naman, diba? I mean, a safe environment naman. Those people
All
who,
the
like,
losers just unsubscribed.
sorry. No, diba? I don't naman go out alone. I make sure that there are people there who know and
Mm.
help me in the event. And then it's nice because, like, I don't know if you've ever gone out and then people are like asking you, like, hey, are you okay? Are you
Yeah.
good?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
have that. I have that, and I'm so grateful because it means that, I can still live in a world that's not gonna stop drinking.
Yeah.
Not gonna because I'm not the center of it. Diba? And they know it, but then it's just there. There's a I don't know, concern,
Yeah.
just the right amount of concern. That's not that's not nakakasakal, or like, like gripping my neck and saying, like, you can't drink, you're wrong, this is what you're doing. Like, it's nothing like that. But just the right amount of concern and the right amount of um how do you say it? Protectiveness.
Mm.
In a sense that, they're not restricting themselves from having fun with their drinks because they're normies, but also they're not restricting me of having fun even if I'm not drinking. Like, they can include me in conversation.
Yeah.
They include me in the
Mm-mm.
joke. They include me in the dancing. They can include me in the food. It's exactly, diba? Social setting. That's what I like about it. Na my anonymity is not my anonymity to them. There's no anonymity.
Right.
Basically, they
Right.
know, but then they've never been in the program. They don't. They thought it didn't exist here, and they're like, oh, okay, like, and it's great. It's great that there are people who are open minded about it and who don't think that it's a hindrance in your character.
Mm.
Because some people, even if you've known them for so long, it's like it's such a hindrance in your character once they find out that, oh my god, you're an alcoholic. I mean, I've had that, and they're like, it's so weird. Like, I know this guy, man. He's just an addict, but he can drink. You're an addict too, right? But you can drink, but you can't drink. And I'm just like, oh. So, like, parang ano and then the hint, like, I feel like sometimes they think that I've changed so much just because I'm alcoholic.
Mm.
I go, no, it's not that. I'm just trying to become a better person. I'm still the same. I just don't have the alcohol and the drugs, right? And it's just sad that other people can't see that because yun nga, di ba, naging parang, ay, alcoholic,
Yeah.
you know?
That's a good point. Actually, I mean, when we're talking about the social stigma, it's one of the big ideas, which is tragic, is that, you know, this false idea that simply because you're in recovery, that makes you less of a person somehow.
Yes, yes. Like, you're a criminal,
Mm.
right? Like, no, I didn't break any laws. you know, like, I didn't, like, yeah, I just blew up my life.
Mm.
Okay. And yes, it's my life. and I don't know why you're so affected by it. You just decided that I was no good because I was an alcoholic.
Mm.
I was. I am an alcoholic. And you just decided, nope, that's all you're going to be right now. Even though you've known me for years, that's all I'm going to be. And for some reason, yeah, your whole persona just changes for them.
Hmm.
Even the way they talk to you, even the way they, diba?
Yeah.
Like, you're
Yeah.
suddenly like, what? It's fun. Sometimes I think it's funny, but then sometimes I know, like, if I get invited to something, it's just like I will not. I will decide not to go because I know it's not. I don't. Here's the thing: I don't fit in
Yeah.
some circles anymore. Although it's sad because I didn't change. I just quit. I'm still caring. I can still talk to you. I'm still funny, right? And I can still, I can still relate. But then it's just become, I don't know why. I have to say it's the reality of a lot of us here that once they find out that you're an alcoholic, and
Yeah.
then they're just like, oh my god, like you can't sit with us,
Well,
type
I
of thing.
mean, something that, I've had to come to terms with just since I moved back, right, is that a lot of my childhood friends who are still friends, um, I don't see them or connect with them nearly in the way that we used to. And I've been able to meet so many people who aren't in recovery, but don't go out drinking and getting drunk. They just don't look for it in the same way that my childhood friends used to, or still do sometimes,
Oh
right? It's just
yeah,
not like they just do other things. Lo and behold, there are people in the world who do other things for fun other than get fucked up, every now and then. Like it's just not something that they like to do. And that's also a reality. So like the world can get so much bigger. um it's just reconciling like the life that we had before and the people that we surrounded ourselves with before, and then what it could be for this other world that we haven't really experienced in full yet. That is something else too, like with all those childhood friends and people who I met and the relationships that became strong, these strong bonds before I got sober, is I surrounded myself with people who like to party, who like to drink and do drugs.
mm,
And um, that's why those are my friends, you know.
yeah,
But my circumstances changed, and I just didn't see that I was surrounding myself with people like that before. I thought it was normal. Like, what does it say? Like, our the alcoholic life seems like the normal life or something like that, which is
yeah,
true.
yeah. That's what you did. That's what you did to bond. That's what you did to. But then, like, there are also other. Well, yeah, yeah. We have those kinds of relationship. But then I'm still thankful that I still have childhood friends who are still there,
Hmm.
who've never left, who never saw it as a bad thing. They saw it as a good thing that I recognized my problem and dealt with it. That's those are the real ones.
Those are the
I
real
believe
ones. Yeah.
those are the right. Those are the real ones, and they're not even here in the Philippines. That's what's sad about it.
That
What is
makes
sad about it?
that makes sense.
Right?
That makes
Diba?
sense to me. Yeah.
It makes sense, but then like they were the ones I also used to party with and like to
Yeah.
drink with and everything, but they just had different lives and went somewhere else.
Yeah.
The ones that stayed here are just like, yeah, you can't sit with us. It's like a Mean Girls movie. Like you can't sit with us. On Wednesdays we wear pink. But you know what? Yeah, it's it's a tough world to to be an alcoholic and an addict because like while you're trying to change and be better, there's always going to be people who are just going to not see you beyond that anymore.
Hmm. Sure.
And and as much as I want to avoid these people, one way or another, I'm still going to have to like face them in some way or something like that because it's like I said, Manila's too small. We all run in the same circles. And it's just a matter of me choosing when to be with them. Because if if there is a social stigma for this disease, I feel it. I feel it most with those kind of people.
Mm.
When else I don't. And that's sad. But then thank God that, I don't have to drink about it. I don't have to use over it. But it's still hard. Yeah, like what you said, it is heartbreaking
Yeah.
because, you know, we're here to repair our relationships. And somehow there are just relationships that cannot go back or cannot even go near the level of what it once was. And yeah,
Mm.
that's, diba?
Yeah. Yeah.
Parang sayang. Yung sinasabi nila, sayang, sayang. It's parang, what can you do? And
Yeah.
what did they say? Na parang, your friends are not supposed, I mean, like friends are just, sometimes they're there forever, but sometimes they're just there for a season,
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
right? And then, like, wow, that was a really long season then, diba? If you
Yeah.
think about it. Haba naman na season mo, pre. Di ba? Haba ng, God, you were in my life for such a long time. But then, like, you know what? It's cool. Because I also thought about it.
Yeah. And
Like,
and it's okay to grieve. It is okay
it's
to
okay
grieve.
to,
Actually, I had a therapist once that I talked to about that, and one of the conversations that we had was about old ideas of fun. Um, and he told me that, for as long as my definition of fun included some kind of like recklessness, danger, alcohol and drugs, that wildlife, then I wouldn't be able to embrace like other ideas of fun and other dimensions of life that could be just as fulfilling.
mm-hmm.
And I was stuck with that narrow vision for a long time, even in sobriety. I didn't know how to let that go. And so I think like when you're talking about that, I did have to learn how to grieve um, relationships that could no longer be the way that I wanted them to. But I also got a chance to see in that grief that part of what made me sad is that, well, actually, no, I was using, I was using the sadness to also keep me from enjoying my sober life.
Mm.
Unconsciously, I don't think I was like out to sabotage myself, but like I couldn't really enjoy it fully because it was always like, oh, because I don't have these friends anymore and whatever. And it was always, there's something I'm missing out on. There's always a loss, right? I'm not looking at the gains.
Yep.
And when you said that you do have childhood friends where you still have meaningful relationships, there are a few who I've known for years that like in sobriety, we became closer because me not drinking and then allows us to have conversations about different things. And so I'm discovering other facets of these people, um, other ways that we get along, without the use of alcohol or drugs. And so I get to
Mm-hmm.
actually like know these other people, who
Yeah.
I didn't know before. So it's
It's a
kind of,
trip.
it's a trip.
It's a trip. It's a trip, right?
Yeah.
It's a really good trip sometimes. I mean, like often actually. It's a good trip to know these people. Again.
Hmm.
Again. On a different level. Because I don't know. Yeah. You get to know them and then you find something new or it's been there all along and then you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. But yeah, speaking of old ideas that we're hanging on to, that's a preview to our next episode, guys.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that because that's coming up when Barbie's back. So, anyways, Mike, it was always nice talking to you.
Always. Thanks for this conversation.
Thanks for this conversation. You and me, buddy. Anyways, thanks guys for listening. Cheers.
Cheers.
This has been an episode of the Cocoa Recovery Podcast. If you would like to get in touch with our hosts or guests, please email us at cocoarecoverypodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.